We rolling?
Yeah, we rolling.
Hello.
Hey, welcome
Hello.
to the Sleepy Cabin Podcast.
Yeah, well, no, it's the Roundabout Cast,
Oh yeah.
which you can email at theroundaboutcast@gmail.com. What is that
Yeah.
email, Bradley?
It's roundabout the roundabout cast at
Yes.
gmail.com.
Yes.
I know it now.
Thought you were fucking with me. I was getting worried. Okay, well, shit. I wrote here. So, our first topic today is going to be Game of Thrones, but I allotted 5 minutes before realizing Joe caught up to me. So we're going to do.
Here's what we'll do, Miller. The finale is next week.
Mhm.
So we can probably we can have our own 20-minute discussion about all of Game of Thrones because I have some thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
And I think I've been listening to some other people on like podcasts, and they've kind of shared those same thought feelings that I've had from people that have read the books before, or some of them. Which is vindicating for me. But in terms of overall Game of Thrones, I caught up. I think for me around season 5 is when I kind of was like things just weren't as good as they were before, in my personal opinion.
See, I've gone on record to say that I really hate season 5, but I actually really like 6. I think 6 has a lot of good stuff.
6 has some good stuff. I agree. It's just like I enjoyed season 5 more. I thought it was a lot more of the formula and style that I like in Game of Thrones.
7's fast, but I don't dislike 7. I still like it.
I stick by my solid 2 out of 5 rating for 7. I just
Season 8 though.
Right. So let's just I mean, we'll make this quick. We'll probably do it under 10. Just talking about episode 5. And we'll talk around some things.
Yeah. So the big thing that everyone complains about, I feel like is complaining about. I really don't have complaints over than the fact that I feel like
Me neither.
Just needed to be built up to more.
You know the big action scene of this episode?
Yeah.
It went on for too long. What if they
I agree on that.
cut that back by 15 minutes and character developed that choice more, you know? Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah. But like that choice has been foreshadowed and kind of foreseen like forever.
I agree.
Like you kind of knew her mindset about these things, and you could kind of always see the inkling of that in there, but you always hoped that would never happen. And it did. And
I think some people really got attached to that character, and that's all I got to say about that, and that's why there's a lot of sadness.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there was more time spent on that character to justify, not justify, but more of get into the thought process of that character's head, I think people would have been a lot more open to it.
I saw a cut of that scene where she makes the decision. You know the scene, like bells are ringing and something happens. I saw a scene with some flashbacks interwoven in that shot, and it made it so much better. This is my problem with season 8 in general. Like, they're just not even trying. Like,
it's way too fast. Using the excuse of she forgot is kind of
Jesus. Bradley, there's this thing in Game of Thrones season 8 where it's like, what's a good analogy? Say say they're fighting Dio, and they find out his stand is time stop, and they're
and
like,
then they just forget.
And then they're like, Jotaro forgot that his stand is time stop, so that's why he got caught in this brutal attack, and he almost died for it.
Jesus.
It's that bad.
I will say though, that one thing that the thing that she forgot, it has one additional thing I don't think they realized they had, but at the same time, I don't think they would have been able to change the overall outcome of that. It would have stopped one thing from happening, but wouldn't have prevented the bigger kind of.
Would it? I mean, because she solos all of them, so
that's the other thing I have with
Yep.
episode 5.
That's why. Okay, hold on. So I was saying they don't try, right? And so Bradley, say there's a weapon in a TV show, and this weapon is shown to shoot 3 shots at a long distance, and they all hit. What does that tell you about this weapon and the people shooting it?
It's probably a really good weapon, or the people using it are really good at using it.
It would say it's pretty accurate, right? 3 shots at a long distance, they all hit. Interesting. Because then the next episode, 25 people are shooting that weapon and they all miss.
Oh my god.
So this is why I mean they're not even trying. If they wanted to make that second part believable, all they needed to do was in the first part not make it 3 perfect shots, make it like a volley of shots, and some of them are lucky hits to show that it's not accurate.
I don't understand why a show that's had such amazing direction for almost its entire run is having these problems now. Like, why are they doing their approach differently?
Because Bradley, themes are for 8th graders.
Is that what they said?
That's
or something?
what they
I've heard this phrase thrown around.
They said this like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
They said that?
Also, the writers wrote X-Men Origins, so just keep that in mind.
What's wrong with them?
Oh my goodness.
But so I will say for the reason for hitting it 3 times, I will say those shots came out of nowhere, like they were almost ambushed. But when you have a shotgun shooting, you're bound to hit at least once. You know?
Yeah, it's a spread
Right.
shot.
Yeah.
But no, gets.
God, that makes me sad, and I'm not even.
But anyways,
What actually happened, Bradley? Your question is, I think they just don't care. They're trying to finish up so they can work on Star Wars. Like that's actually it.
I guess so.
Because season 7 suffered from some writing issues, but it still had some depth. It still had some stuff that only Game of Thrones can deliver. It still has really good characters. You know, it was just moving at a really fast pace, and people are running all around the country.
Near the end of 7, it felt like very much just like, what is happening? Like, or there's the episode of Beyond the Wall.
That's the only one that's like, ugh.
Yeah, and like to me, like it's not so much of like the plot armor of that episode. That's like, okay, whatever. It's the actual plot of like the reason they have to do that episode. I'm like, that's so stupid.
It's
like
not that stupid.
It's kind of stupid.
It's like, a little bit. I'd give it a 10% rating of stupid.
But like it's just
maybe 25.
Like to me, that doesn't seem like something those characters would do. Almost.
Well, it's a wake-up call, and it's the only kind of wake-up call that the other character would reciprocate to.
Maybe, yeah. But I will say I did like that scene that happens in the next episode where they're all having to sit down.
Yes,
and they're having a discussion.
That's
a good scene.
It's a scene that's been building up for a long time. Back to season 8 real quick. I agree with Joe. I actually thought they built up the reason why that event happened fairly well, a little bit too quick, but it's been built up for 8 seasons, and these last 4 episodes, each one have taken one more toe, one after the other, to lead to that choice. It wasn't out of nowhere. She even said why she did it in the beginning of the episode, so...
Yeah, but still to me, like, that character for the audience... they need to show a more reasonable why as to that character feels that way. I think there's only really one good scene, but it needed several other scenes to kind of back it up.
Yeah.
I feel.
Now, to speak of the negatives, that's the one thing of the episode. Ironically, the thing everyone's complaining about is the one thing I liked. I hated everything else.
Yeah.
I hated all the Northerners turning into just assholes. I hated Clegane Bowl was really dumb when I thought about it, even if it was hype.
Yeah.
You don't realize how dumb one of those characters is until you really see them.
Yeah.
That's some dumb shit.
I will say though, someone made a very good point about Clegane Bowl as like a metaphor, and I think it'd be better if we discuss that like later when we're doing a spoiler kind of talk about it.
Well, fire's involved.
Oh, that's a good metaphor for that theme.
But other things, they wasted that one character's arc You know the one. Everyone knows the one. They just come.
Give me more hints here.
The arc who was most wasted in the rocks fell.
Oh yeah,
I felt that character's arc was completely obliterated. Granted, like it's kind of realistic, but it's just not fun storytelling. You spent so much time.
I also like kind of. Yeah, I'll have to discuss that later.
Okay.
I think because
What
I
else?
have some thoughts about it.
There was
the reason why they don't
there was
make
a character in this episode just because they're a fan favorite character and they need motivations for next episode, and it felt really forced.
Yeah.
It was one sided. Fucking Euron is just complete waste.
Euron is the biggest mustache twirling villain in that show. It makes me upset.
Well, I don't know, man. Walder Frey exists, but then again, he had some.
No. But Walder Frey, though, like there was a reason why he did those, and it kind of Walder Frey represents the how petty everyone is in that universe.
Ramsay Bolton, then.
Power.
Ramsay Bolton, then. I'm sure there's others.
No, Ramsay's pretty good.
That guy who fucked all his daughters, he's pretty bad.
Yeah,
we can agree on that one. All right,
that's a real weird one.
Anything else to say? I'm ready to. We'll cover more next time.
Yeah,
I want to see the finale. And I want to complain about it because I have thoughts and feelings. Because I feel like the way that the show was like accumulating, or like the series was accumulating to, was kind of obvious from like book 2, maybe even like especially like book 3 onwards. But like I feel like the people that were writing just really didn't care or really didn't see it. But yeah.
You had something to say, Bradley, even though you
this whole the whole like reception to season 8's been weird to me because I think like you said, the directors, they're going to be working on the upcoming Star Wars or whatever, and I think they also got brought on to a few other projects as well in the future, and so maybe like you said, they're just kind of ready to kind of transition to those other projects because they've been working on this for so long.
They've really never dropped the ball this hard, so something's got to be
so weird to me because like this is debatably what the thing they're most well known for, and it's like if this is going to be your legacy, why would you not try to finish it as strong as you possibly can?
Maybe they think Star Wars will be a better legacy, which is fair. I think that's. Is that a bigger? Star Wars is bigger. It's got
Star Wars is the third biggest merchant. Is the third biggest licensing thing in the world.
Yeah, Star Wars is bigger.
Yeah, I think it's behind Coca-Cola and Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse is like number 1.
So one last thing I say before we end the segment is if you named your daughter Khaleesi, I'm very sorry.